Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And so much going on right now in the Call of Duty community. We've got Vanguard just around the corner, but even some leaks coming out about the Modern Warfare 22 game that's coming out even after Vanguard. But also plenty of discussion on which player has the most to lose from this season. Which players make or break. Who is the pressure on? A lot of people saying Octane from Los Angeles Thieves. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do to help this channel reach more people. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about this. Merely almost that time, he says. He's getting ready for Vanguard. Of course, there's some people looking at this saying, okay, almost that time optic announcements, but with the chaos we talked about earlier today, seems that less likely that may well be the case right now. This from the subliners, actually. There's some tweets that came out, some images that came out of some of the maps we're going to be seeing in Vanguard at release. This is a map called Desert Siege, so I'm not sure what these maps are going to play like, obviously, and what the overlay of the map is, and what the playable area is. Is it 3 lanes, this type of stuff? But still some pretty cool stuff to see. This is a map called Decoy. Doesn't really look competitive based with this kind of mid-courtyard area looking kind of strange, even though it reminds me a bit of like Hanoi. I don't really know why, but still, we'll have to see how that one works. Also got this, of course, Castle coming back from World at War. This, I think a lot of people have pretty high hopes that this is going to be played fantastically for competitive, which of course is exciting stuff. And then you got this as well, the Dome map, which is also returning from several years ago in Call of Duty. So exciting stuff, no doubt. Also got this, I thought I'd mention real quick, because some people were discussing this a few days ago, that we know Ninja's coming in as a perk now, but it's actually going to be competing in perk 1 with Flak Jacket because it's replaced low profile, I believe. So that is kind of interesting, right, that it's going to be competing there. Usually Ninja and Dead Silence has been like a perk 3 slot type thing, but clearly not this time around. So maybe they can change it over time, or it's going to be Ninja versus Flak Jacket, which is a question mark, of course. I mean, back in the good old days in Black Ops 2, for example, you did have to make some pretty significant choices what you would run, like which perks you would decide to use. If there's trophies, you might not need Flak Jacket so much. So hopefully that's the case, but something to keep your eyes on, no doubt. Let's talk about the top 6 and top 5 players of the Black Ops Cold War season. Then Shotzzy gets the number 6 spot. His stats on the whole don't look spectacular, but I think just the eye test tells you that Shotzzy was disgusting this last year, and his placements were very good as well on Dallas. But yeah, as you can see, for a slaying SMG, overall KT pretty solid. Like, his stats are pretty good. Of course, he had that crazy 1 versus 4 clutch against Optic on Checkmate Search and Destroy. Don't know what Optic were doing in that one, but the control KD on LAN, total clutch is 18, S&D KD and wins at 1.33. So impressive stats, but it's not really just about the stats for Shotzzy. I think it's just what you see this guy doing on the map that just shows he's an incredibly impactful player. That, of course, really at times felt like he was carrying Dallas to the success that they did have. And of course, this season we imagine he's still going to be on Dallas, but under a different organization name if everything goes as planned, which hopefully it will, right? Because earlier today, I don't really know what's going on at the COD scene right now. Also, number 5, then it goes to Insights, so it leaves a top 4 of pretty much unanimously. It's got to be Cammy and the other 3 FaZe guys. But yeah, Insight gets number 5. I think this is certainly deservedly so. It's pretty rare to see an AR come into the league, like a rookie AR, and just perform as he did. Like, the placings are out of control. Adjusted KD number 1 overall, so adjusted KD takes into account Search and Destroy in a bit of a higher weighting than just regular KD does, which is obviously more focused towards respawn. So 1.26 S&D KD on LAN. He had the damage record. I'm pretty sure this might be the damage record, or maybe Kenny had it, but he was, I'm pretty sure this is in his first ever series. He played against LA Thieves. He dropped like 3,800 damage on Miami, and they lost the game in round 11, which is just absurd. But yeah, Insight was so consistent this year. Really, as soon as he joined Toronto, that team took a massive step in the right direction. So very impressive stuff. Of course, I will have to see if he can continue to perform on that level in future years. But of course, players like this are going to be needed, right? Because when a lot of the older players, the likes of Crimsix, Clayster, Slasher, for example, they're getting towards the 30-year-old age group, in the next couple of years, a lot of these guys are probably going to step away, and that we're going to need some great AR players to fill their shoes really for the rest of the CDL. So Insight, I'm sure, is going to be one of those guys and will continue to be. This very interesting from MLG. We know that MLG ran a load of the events way back in the day. They also pretty much ran all the CWL events back in the pre-CDL era from 2019 onwards. But anyway, the COD League come out in reply here. MLG haven't tweeted since February last year or something. They come out and tweet this yesterday. Who's preloading Vanguard? And the COD League are immediately in the replies. So what does this mean, right? Because we imagine the CDL basically run their own events the last couple of years, and you could argue they haven't been done quite as well as they were during the MLG days. So is MLG back in business? Are they just doing this for impressions, or are COD League actually saying, okay, yes, MLG, you're going to come back and run some of these events? Because of course, a few years ago when it was World War II Infinite Warfare, they did the Pro League on LAN with MLG in their studios in Columbus. I don't know if their studios even exist anymore, but still, maybe that's what they're thinking. LAN League comes back, we need to get people involved. Of course, a lot of the MLG guys are now involved with Esports Engine, so not really sure what's happening here, but something to keep your eyes on, no doubt, going forwards. And well, as Drazah points out, first time since February 2020, CDL are straight in the replies. What does that mean? I guess we'll see. This also from Tommy real quick, because he's definitely said, gone to streaming Warzone, of course, for 100 Thieves, but he's definitely indicated he might be interested in getting back into competitive Call of Duty at some point, so I wonder if an opportunity could be there. Also, this from Rated, when, of course, Vanguard does come out here on Friday, that, well, this is actually on the 8th of November, but there's a tournament going on, a $20,000 4v4 Vanguard code red, and, well, it's Bance, it's Cammy, it's CleanX, and it's Rated, so Rated also looking to get back into competitive COD, I believe, so pretty cool to see, and, yeah, excited to see. I guess technically Rated is a Warzone pro, but, I mean, obviously, he was a CDL pro or CWL pro for quite a long time, and, therefore, this team is going to be difficult to beat, I am sure about that. This just quickly then from Zuma, just before we talk about what, well, came out on the Flank yesterday, but, well, as he says right here, announcement on Thursday, and the Flank Twitter come out and say it as well. So Thursday, that's when his org announcement is. I think he said around noon Pacific time or something tomorrow. That's when he's actually going to be announced to the organization. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be FaZe. We'll see. And they're going to do like an emergency flank as a result of it or something along those lines. But cool to see an announcement is actually coming, right? So we have like a date for when an announcement is happening. Because those have been somewhat few and far between, you could well say, over these last several weeks. So wanted to talk about this then, that came out as a question really on the Flank last night. There was some talk about Los Angeles Thieves and where they rank in terms of you know, all the teams in the CDL, where they should rank going into next year. And there was some talk about, okay, Octane, the pressure is now on. The last 2 years on Seattle, your teams have been pretty awful both years. Like, yes, you had some decent stats, but didn't get the results. Like, maybe you couldn't really have done too much with the situation. Now you've got the organization you wanted to be on. You've got a team around you which is really, really talented. Now is the time to perform. If you don't perform now, Octane, then that's when the questions will seriously start being raised. Kind of got a free pass the last couple of years. Now's well, time to hit the ground running, I suppose. That was the initial discussion. There was a question that followed up with, and then we're kind of discussing which players are kind of make or break. There's a lot of them, I'm sure, on the lower tier squads, but on the higher tier squads, Octane is certainly up there. He even responds here in the chat just before I share the clip. Why are people acting like I'm on the way out? I literally played the exact same in those 2 years as when I was winning, which it might be fair enough, but well, the results obviously didn't come, and therefore the pressure is going to rise.
I don't know. I have high hopes for them. Sam specifically, like, this is Sam's first year now since the CDL started.
Sam's got to kick up now.
So I mean, to put it,
the first roster he's looking forward to.
Yeah, he's got to kick up now.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out a nice way to say it. This is probably the first roster that Sam looks at and respects and is like, okay, these guys are as good as me. Yeah, and I'm not saying Sam has a crazy ego, but like, knowing Sam, he knows how good he is. People know how good he is. This is probably the first roster where he's like, finally.
My hot pick is Octane and the superstar / high tier due to the situation he just came out of. Can he finally win consistently in the CDL era while being the old Octane he was?
Well, Sam's in chat, so he'll let us know what he feels about that.
I think there's a lot of... I agree with the Octane thing. I think it might be a make or break year for him. I think he finally has a team where he can come out and show himself. And if they struggle and it doesn't look good, I mean, it's just not a good look. But I think Octane's up there. Who else, man? I think some of the Florida guys are going to make it or break it.
There are a lot of players. I mean, you could
Harris
probably
guys.
Outside of probably Toronto and Atlanta FaZe, you could probably name
hey, bro, if you're not playing well, you're getting cut, bro. The CDL don't give a bro. So there's a lot of people, man.
I think you could probably name 1 or 2 people per team because there are, outside of Toronto and FaZe, I would say there are probably 1 or 2 players that definitely, are kind of in a crossroads in their career. Either they need to continue the consistency they had last year, or they need to step their performances up.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I think Octane, people are saying temp in the chat.
So this was the overall tier list that the Flank guys came up with. Zuma and Ben, Methods, and Looney were kind of in the chat discussing this. I think, honestly, they did a pretty good job of it. We can talk about this more in the coming days, I'm sure. But, I mean, look, FaZe and Ultra top 2. I don't think it's kind of difficult to disagree with that because I mean, obviously, these 2 teams are very much proven. They did fantastic things last year. Makes sense that these guys are going to still be top 2. But, I mean, Optic in their own category on A tier, they kind of debated this for quite a while. whether they would keep them in their own tier on A, or whether they would the other guys would go B. But I think it's honestly about fair enough, because all these teams in B, like at New York, Minnesota, Los Angeles Guerrillas, and Los Angeles Thieves, all have the potential, I think, to win an event and be like one of the best teams in the game. But it's just not so clear that they have it all put together like the Optic guys do in theory, and the ceiling that the Optic team has. So I think it kind of makes sense, to be honest. But yeah, Los Angeles Thieves down here in B. Then we've got Seattle, London, and the Washington spot, which apparently isn't happening anymore, in the C tier, which I think is about fair enough. We'll certainly talk as the season gets closer what's the most underrated teams, what's the most underrated players going into the new title, and then Florida and, well, Paris in D. But if they get Vivid, then maybe this will change right for Florida. So it's kind of strange, but, well, I'll do my best to keep you guys updated over the coming days. Wanted to mention this as well that came out from Ralph yesterday. There were some details on, well, Warzone and Modern Warfare 2 2022. Now, of course, this game hasn't even come up yet, and he's got a massive thread here running through, like, all the stuff that's going to be happening. Now, I mean, look, if you scroll down forever, you find a load of stuff. But the one I wanted to focus in on was actually this right here, where he talks about multiplayer and the different modes that are coming out. So let's just make this clear. This is a year from now this game is going to be coming out. But anyway, this is what was mentioned. Uplink mode. Apparently, they might be interested to bring Uplink back. We don't know how this game is going to play at all, but Uplink was really good in the jetpack era. How does it work exactly for boots on the ground? I don't know. Does Uplink refer to the traditional Uplink that we've seen in Call of Duty? But I think a lot of people have said that Uplink is like their favorite third game mode pretty much in COD history. Especially a lot of the pros would say that through the jetpack era. So whether they can make that work here again and boots on the ground, because I imagine Modern Warfare 2 or whatever is going to be boots on the ground, then of course that remains to be seen. But I'm definitely excited to keep my eyes on that one. If they bring Uplink back, that'd be pretty cool as the third mode. This also from Los Angeles Guerrillas, just real quick. S&D or Hardpoint, Dome or Castle, which of these are going to be played, right? Returning from World at War to the CDL for Vanguard. I'm not really sure how both of these maps are going to play. I'm excited to get my hands on them in just a couple of days' time at this point. And just to mention this as well, which is going on tonight, the world premiere for Vanguard, which is going to include a lot of members from the competitive Call of Duty team. We've got Enables there, Zoomers there, of course, aBeZy, Crowder, Asim, Cellium, and Slasher as well. The representation from the competitive COD scene. Pretty cool to see. I'm pretty sure Maven and Courage are also there. So definitely going to give that one a tune. And actually, it's going to be too late for me. I'll tune in tomorrow morning. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells those YouTube overlords this is a good video. Other people like you should see it as well. And I'll grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you so much as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.